Welcome back, everybody. We are back into Peavey VTM60 land. This one is not mine. This is a customer's amp. Just needs a quick checkout. He said might have something going on, might not. He's just not too familiar with these amps. So we're going to walk through how to check out something like this, where it might have a problem, might be fine. But also I realized I never put back together my VTM60. So we're going to walk through the last steps of that and give it a little sound test. Got a band practice in a couple days that I'm going to try to use that for. So let's get to it. Now, one thing I'm noticing right off the bat is this is different than on my VTM60. This part of the faceplate looks different. It doesn't have this white logo. So I'm going to have to look into whether there's different eras of these. I'll show you real quick a shot of mine. Okay, it's upside down, but you can see this is what my VTM60 looks like. This is the customer's. This is the state of mine. This is the customer's. We're going to make this, look like this later in the video, after we check out this guy's. Well, getting this chassis out made me question some things about life. It's almost like the head shell was shrinking as I was pulling it out. I'm going to go ahead and test these tubes, get this dust wiped off. I did check the fuse on the back. It's the proper 3 amp fuse. I also saw something when I was pulling this out that I will show you in just a second after I test those tubes. Okay, so if you watched the RCA black plate video that I just did, you'll kind of know the drill with this tube tester, but basically this can tell us if a tube is definitively bad, but not necessarily if it's good. Going into socket 8B, these are 5881s. The VTM60s take 6L6GC tubes, so 5881s can be used in their place. They just have a different breakup, basically, different wattage on the tube. So again, we're on our short test here. If this light comes on, the tube is short. And then we'll do our other tests. And this is slowly coming up. These tubes might just be towards the end of their life. It does take some time for the tester to heat them up. So I'll probably fast forward some of this because we're going to test the 12AX7s as well. Yeah, so this is kind of, whereas our 6L6s from the other day were up in this region. These are at the point where they might be starting to sound like a little bit dull. Oh, look at that. So this is a gassy tube. This might have a bit of a gas leak. We didn't see that before. So no short. Seems a little bit tired, possibly, for the transconductance in the life test. And there it is. That bounce is usually what we see when there is some kind of vacuum leak. Now, I'm not seeing... It does look a little dark in this area. Usually if there's a full-on vacuum leak, you will see almost like a white material that I believe is mica that has from the actual plate that has failed. Not a chemistry guy. It's probably something I should know. So we'll test this other one here. I may advise a new set of 6L6s on this guy. Which does bring up the question, would it be totally sacrilegious to throw black plate RCA 6L6s into a VTM60? I might have to do that on the channel. Okay, see, this guy's testing much more in the good region. So it could just be that one. That's interesting. And no major bounce. So it does like bounce a little bit just from the tension of the needle. You can see that, right? But it lands back down here. Whereas with the other tube, it did like kind of come back up. That's when we know we have a gas leak. Okay, let's set this thing up for 12AX7s and test those. I'm going to mark this tube with some painter's tape to help advise. Okay, for 12AX7s, we're using slot 9A up here, just out of sight. We set our heater to 12. We set our sensitivity to 96. And on this one, it's a little bit different. My chart says that the tube is good if we read anything over 2400 on this dial here. So let's go ahead and give these a test. Okay, we can already see that guy has passed the threshold. It's good. And again, a little bounce, but it's just the tension of the needle. It does fall back down. I'm just going to speed through the rest of these, and then I will report back with the results. Okay, so all the preamp tubes tested good. I'm going to go ahead and pack up the tube tester, and then we'll look in the chassis to see what I saw in there that may be causing some issues. Okay, so see anything stand out to anybody here? Maybe you don't have the same view that I did as I was pulling this out, but look at this. This should definitely be going like that instead of how it was. Now, I don't know if it's possible that this happened when I was pulling out the chassis, although that seems like that would be hard to have happen. Yeah, interesting. This is definitely a different era too from mine. Mine doesn't have a blue board for the power stuff here. If you did watch that video, you know mine has this resistor replaced with a choke from a prior tech. It also doesn't have the shield, although this could have very easily just been pulled out of mine. Mine was definitely had gone through what I would call a total hack job at some point. Let's pull this out so we can get a look. I was about to say I didn't think this had been opened up before, but it does look like a screw is missing there for that shield. Okay. So it basically just covers your first preamp stage there, maybe, to help shield things. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Well, let's power this thing up, take some voltage checks. I did talk to the owner. We're going to throw a new set of JJ power tubes in there. Before I do that, I'm going to get on the current limiter, check to make sure voltages are where we expect them. Then, and again, this is, unknown amp startup. Visual inspection, check your fuses, make sure they're not only working, but the correct size. Pull the tubes, do a power up on a current limiter. Check voltages, check your plate voltages and your any other voltage on your preamp or your power tubes. If there's no short circuit, at that point I like to power up on full power. Again, with tubes uninstalled, check those voltages again. They will be a little bit high. And if everything still looks good, then plug in tubes. At that point, you can, if you haven't tested the tubes like I did, you could power up with tubes installed but on a current limiter, and that should save you from blowing other components if there is a failed short tube. And then you can come up on full power. Again, check your voltages, plates, grids, screens, and then do a sound test. See what you think. And if nothing pops up along the way with those kind of things, you can do a load test, hook it up to a load resistor. You want a non-inductive resistor for that test. Hook it up on the scope, or just measure the voltage across with a sine wave going in, and then see what kind of power output you have. There are tools for that as well, benchtop kind of test tools. But let's run through some of those together, and then we'll button this thing back up, do a little sound test if everything's good. So I misspoke a little bit on my process before. I actually prefer to no tubes on the current limiter after the visual inspection, then tubes in on the current limiter, and then we come up to full power. There's not really much need once you've seen those two things to power up to full power with no tubes, unless you really suspect something is an issue. Okay, so also forgot these amps are, mostly forgot this because mine has been modded for variable fixed bias, but these are fixed bias amps with no adjustment for the bias either. So we're hooked up to the compy bias. We're going to see what the new tubes sit at. If they're within the safe range, we're just going to leave it. If not, we will modify this thing and talk to the customer about that. But let's power this thing up on the current limiter, take some voltage checks. We now have new power tubes installed and the original preamp tubes. And we'll see what kind of voltages we're getting. We're hooked up to our dummy load once again. So let's see. This is pin 1 of one of our preamp tubes. So it's coming up and then back down, kind of stabilizing from the look of it. Here's pin 6. So these are our plates, pin 1 and pin 6. Man, that really comes up pretty high before dropping back down at power up. That's interesting. Okay, and that would be our heaters. We're getting half because I'm measuring that to ground. Yeah, okay. Here's pin 1, pin 6, so our plates look good. Let's see here. Pin 1, pin 6, and I'm not referencing a schematic. You certainly could to see what these should be. All I'm doing is looking for ballpark, something between like 150 and 200 something volts is kind of in the ballpark of what I would expect. Now these voltages will be a little bit off because we are hooked up to the current limiter. But we can see here, we're getting some kind of voltage, we're getting bias. We're going to expect that we would have something on our plate as well as our screen, and then the other side of our screen resistor. And then we should have a negative voltage in the range of what we would expect for bias. If we see those things, just as a gut check, we are safe to proceed. If we really want to be dialing things in, like we're going to be tuning up an amp, we would then reference those things to a schematic. Okay, things look good here. Let's go up to full power, see what happens. Okay, we're hooked up to full power, no longer going into a just resistor dummy load, but instead going into my power station so we can hear if something happens. Powering on the amp now. I'm keeping an eye on the compy bias. I'll show you guys what that reads in just a sec. If that goes above a wattage of 8 to 13 watts, I'm going to shut this thing down. It's at 11 right now, 11.7. 13 watts would be 70% dissipation. It's sitting real steady at 12.7 watts. Let's see what kind of voltage we get. We can hear, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's a pop coming through the speaker. So that means we have signal getting through from this stage forward. It's another way to test amplifiers. It's 320. Check that our screen resistor is still good. We're getting voltage on both sides. It looks like at some point this one was modified because the screen resistor should go to here, but instead is tied directly to the tube socket. So it looks like somebody tried to do it and then lifted that trace, or didn't want to take that board out, which I don't really blame them for. These are a bear to get out. That's all looking okay. The bias is a little hot. It's sitting at 13.4. Oh, I'm sorry, for 6L6 GCs, we can be 15 to 21 watts. So we're actually a little cold, which is okay. So this is the CompuBias bias here. So we're reading our plate voltage, our idle current, and our wattage, which is just the product of the two. 6L6 GC, we can be 15 to 21 watts. We're sitting at 13.4. That's great. A little cold on these amps is not bad. Okay, I'm going to let this settle in for a little bit, and then I'll either report back if there's anything else to report on. Otherwise, we'll get a little sound test, see how it sounds, and then move on to the next one. All right, so this thing's still sounding good. Hooked up to the attenuator here, so it's a little quieter than it otherwise would be. All right, I think we're going to call it on this guy. Wattage is still sitting in a reasonable range, right below 14 watts for the power tubes. I think we're good. I think that other one failed just because it was an older tube. So we're going to button this back up, and then I'll show you what I need to do on my VTM to get it back together. So I pulled my personal VTM60 out of the pile and realized it is going to take a little bit more work than I want to show on this video. To get back together, I forgot about this kind of funky stuff. So I need to go through and double check there's not any other wires that are pulled apart from the last tech that was working on this. And this video is already at about 20 minutes or so. So we're going to call it on the first VTM. We'll be back in this guy in a couple days. And more JCM 800 stuff coming soon too. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.